On June 28, 2007, Australian authorities seized 4.4 tons of ecstasy pills at the port in Melbourne. The pills were hidden in 3,000 cans of tomato sauce. That shipping container traveled from Naples, Italy on May 25, 2007. But why Melbourne, Australia, of all places? Well, Australia is replete with Calabrian clans linked to the Ndrangheta, an organization who are arguably the kings of drug trafficking. The 2007 seizure came to fruition thanks to informant number 3838, who was former Australian criminal defense lawyer Nicola Gobo, someone who became a police informant in and around 1995, but more significantly, she was formally registered as a police human source in September 2005, during which time she provided information on her own clients, many of whom were high-level in Australian organized crime. Rob Karam was a Melbourne-based criminal heavily involved in drug trafficking and a key player in the 2007 ecstasy seizure. He was someone with connections at the port and was able to get the container off the docks. The critical mistake he made was to give his lawyer, Nicola Gobo, a document to hold for him, and that document was the bill of lading for the shipping container. She photocopied the document, gave the original back to Karam, and then handed her copy over to the Victoria Police. Pasquale Barbaro was considered the head of the drug network in Melbourne. Several reports place him as a Griffith-based Ndrangheta boss. Other reports have him as a senior Calabrian boss, and yet still other reports identify him as an associate of Ndrangheta boss Rosario Gangemi. The Ndrangheta and Calabria are the people who sent Barbaro the shipment, and as of July 28, 2007, that shipment was missing. The Australian Federal Police watched the container that day, but only moved in once unsuspecting staff from a legitimate freight company began unloading it. Barbaro and his crew were nowhere in sight. Days leading up to the delivery date, Barbaro, Saverio Zerilli, Carmelo Falagna, identified as a senior Ndrangheta member, and others were holed up at the Pacific International Suites in Melbourne. Secretly taped conversations revealed that Barbaro remained hopeful of receiving the shipment even months after the scheduled arrival date, and although he suspected it might have been seized. The majority of the evidence collected and led to the arrest of 33 people, including Barbaro, took place in the months after the shipment was seized. That evidence included text messages where Barbaro attempted to persuade a Melbourne newspaper journalist. Apparently, he wanted the journalist to establish whether the police had the drugs. And if the journalist was able to confirm the seizure, then he wanted him to write an article on it. On September 19, 2007, several weeks following the seizure, Barbaro sent a text to the journalist. "Mate, I have info on the drug shipment gone wrong. Will you chase it up, as I'm afraid to tell the police or fear they might be involved? The container number is MEDU 1250218, and it came in on the ship Monica 2 months ago, and it is 15 million ecstasy tabs in tomato tins. Why isn't it out? It's the biggest in history." Barbaro was extremely concerned about the lost shipment, to the point of desperation. He and his crew still owed the Calabrians the money for the load, so they began scrambling to pay off that debt. Evidently, there was a negotiated settlement of $10 million that had to be paid. According to Australian law enforcement, what was owed was a lot more, but based on Barbaro's good standing with the Ndrangheta, he was able to receive a significant discount. Francesco Montefiore, a key player in the drug racket for the Ndrangheta and also involved in the missing shipment, traveled to Perth with Barbaro to introduce him to Ndrangheta drug dealers. On May 19, 2008, on July 24, 2008, they imported 150 kilos of cocaine from Panama that was concealed in 3 bags and hid it among Colombian coffee beans that was also shipped in a container. But more significantly, that too was seized. At the time, Barbaro found out about the seized load while at an apartment that belonged to his mistress, and she was caught on tape asking him if he wanted a drink of water, Coke, or anything else. He replied, "Coke, we'd love 150 kilos of it, but you know you haven't got it," obviously referring to the lost load. The Barbaro crew were desperately trying to make other drug deals, most of which was unsuccessful. Barbaro became more hands-on than he normally did. He was scrambling to pay back the Calabrians. he ultimately did manage to send the $10 million to Italy. Right before the big arrest on this case, on August 8, 2008, there was an unconfirmable story put out that the Calabrians suspected the Barbaro crew of double-crossing them. And just prior to their August 2008 arrest, a 6-man hit team traveled to Australia to kill Barbaro and his cousin and partner in the ecstasy load, Saverio Zerilli. But as mentioned, the story's unverifiable. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. Pasquale Barbaro pled guilty to conspiracy to traffic ecstasy, as well as other charges, and was sentenced to life with a minimum of 30 years. The following is some of the other people, but not all, that were also involved. Saverio Zerilli pled guilty as well and received 26 years with a minimum of 18 years. Francesco Marfieri was found guilty and sentenced to 10 years with a minimum of 7. Rob Karam was found guilty and sentenced to 19 years with a minimum of 15. Carmelo Falagna was found guilty, sentenced to 23 years with a minimum of 16 years 6 months. Giovanni Palameni pled guilty and received 18 years with a minimum of 12. And 2 more of Barbaro's cousins, Domenico Barbaro, pled guilty and received 7 years with a minimum of 5, and Pasquale Sergi was found guilty and received 16 years with a minimum of 8 years and 3 months. According to the investigation, immigration records indicate that Sergi was in Naples, Italy in May of 2007 when the container was being loaded, more than likely on behalf of Pasquale Barbaro.